It's me, Deiniol from Catch 22 Rugby, and I'm back with another list of 7 open sides you should keep an eye on this season. But this time, I've ploughed through the list of the English Premiership. I'm making this list ahead of round 2 of the Premiership, and there have been some eye-opening performances this far, as well as a big positional switch by an English international. This list isn't necessarily the best open sides in the competition, more up-and-coming or interesting players that may be not on your radar. So, without further ado, let's delve right in with the first player on our list. Harry Taylor, Gloucester. You may not have heard much about Harry Taylor, but that could all change this season. The 21-year-old made his Premiership debut when he started for the Cherry and Whites in round 1 of the 2022-23 season and played the full 80 minutes. The former co-captain of Gloucester's under-18 side, the workhorse of an open side, played his part in the home side's epic comeback v Wasps. He's definitely caught the eye of the coaches at Gloucester, and we'll have to wait until week 3 to see if he did enough in that fixture to earn a second start at number 7. Josh Basham, London Irish. Josh Basham is only 23 years old, but made his senior professional debut 4 years ago for London Irish. However, his academic pursuits led him to Durham University, where he naturally linked up with Newcastle Falcons. In the same year, Basham earned a spot in the England under-20 squad for the World Championship and started in the final against France. During his time at the Falcons, having been promoted from the academy into the senior ranks, Basham was nominated in the Rugby Player Association 15 under-23 Team of the Season and went on to make 20 first-team appearances for his adopted side. Ahead of the 2022-23 season, the 6'4", 16-stone back row returned to his former side at Hazelwood. Basham is capable of playing across the back row, starting the first game of the season with 8 on his back as his side demolished Worcester Warriors. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of Basham as the season ticks on, whether that's at 6, 7 or 8. Tommy Reffell, Leicester Tigers. You didn't think I'd go a whole video without throwing in a Welshman, did you? Those who follow the Premiership would already know how good young Reffell is. Hailing from Pencoed and captaining Ospreys at under-16s, the 23-year-old open side has been a constant name on Leicester's team sheet ever since his breakthrough season 3 years ago. Since then, he's turned out almost 80 times for the Tigers, with 40 points to his name. But it isn't Reffell's try-scoring ability that got him called up for Wales's tour to South Africa this summer. At 6 foot and 15.5 stone, he's never going to be the largest forward in the pack, but he absolutely can and will dominate you.
Oh, kinky!
He made his international debut against possibly the most physical pack in the world in the Springboks, and he more than only held his own. In fact, he largely got the better of his experienced counterparts. In just his second international test, Reffell was awarded Player of the Match, and he returns to Leicester with his eyes set firmly on the prize of being a key player in Wales's Six Nations campaign next year. Jamie Blamire, Newcastle Falcons. Hold on, I hear you saying. Jamie Blamire's a hooker. Had I been making this video last season, I'd hold my hands up and say, yes, you are correct, but it's this season. And instead I say to you, no, you are incorrect. It's not unusual for hookers to have a similar skill set to flankers these days, and as we've seen in the past, with the likes of Ken Owens playing at number 8. They can do a decent job there too, but it's less usual to see players making the full transition from one position to another, especially when they've been internationally capped in that position. He's no stranger to the try line, and his breakdown work has always been exceptional. So, it'll be fascinating to see whether Blamire will continue down the path of the open side, or whether this is just a sabbatical before returning to the dark side of the scrub. Either way, while he's donning the 7 shirt, curious supporters will do well to keep an eye on his progression. Will Evans, Harlequins. Possibly the most traditional open side named on this list, but perhaps better introduction to a 25-year-old Evans is to point out that he appeared in the Premiership Team of the Week in round 1, despite having played just 49 minutes. Coming off the bench as injury cover, Will Evans played a crucial part in Harlequins' defeat of Newcastle. Hard carries, crucial turnovers, and dominant defensive work are all trademarks of his. Having impressed off the bench, Evans swapped the bench for a starting spot for the Quins in round 2 against Saracens. The former Tiger is considered a breakdown specialist, and his second season with the Quins, he topped the charts for turnovers made with a staggering 29. If he keeps this sort of form up, he may be knocking the door for an international call-up, but he's got stiff competition from the likes of Jack Willis, Wasps. Willis is yet another open side that could easily play at 6 or number 8. At 6 foot 3 inches and tipping the scales upwards of 17 stone, he's no shrinking violet. The Wasps 7 had already made a name for himself prior to his selection by Eddie Jones to pull on the Red Rose, and it seemed he'd gotten his international career off to a flyer, scoring a try on debut within 15 minutes against Georgia. Unfortunately for the big flanker, he suffered a horrific knee injury playing against Italy during the 2021 Six Nations. He ruptured his medial ligament, tore the posterior cruciate ligament, and sustained damage to his cartilage in the knee. However, in the summer of 2022, Willis made his long-awaited return to the field and featured for England against Australia. With his recovery process now behind him, you can guarantee that Willis will be chomping at the bit to impress once more this season. Ollie Cracknell, Leicester Tigers. The former Ospreys and London Irish flanker is a force to be reckoned with. A victim of strength and depth at the Welsh region, Cracknell's departure raised a few eyebrows among supporters. However, at 6 foot 3 inches and over 18 stone, the heavyweight back rower seems to be relishing in the battlegrounds of the Premiership. A tackling machine and a tough man to stop once he gets going, Cracknell is exactly the type of player you want on your side when the going gets physical up front. He may want to prove a point or two when Leicester take on his former side Ospreys in the Heineken Champions Cup in December. I also think it's worth giving an honorary mention to another Welshman, Chris Chinza, who has been starting at open side for Exeter Chiefs of late. Definitely not his usual position, as a 6 foot 6 inch 18 stone giant is more accustomed to lock or possibly blindside flanker and could be the largest open side in the Premiership for the past 2 weeks. I don't expect the big man to be plying his trade there all season, but it's definitely a feather in his cap and more evidence, if it were needed, of his diversity of play. And that's it! 7 young and interesting open side flankers you should keep an eye on this season in the English Premiership. I enjoy making these lists, but 15 fullbacks to keep an eye on is just getting ridiculous. Although, the one loose head to watch should be pretty easy. If you think I've missed someone out, please do let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more Catch 22 Rugby.